Vampires have existed in the world of fiction for centuries, whether it be the newest incarnation of Edward Cullen or the classical Count Dracula.
I am Dracula.
Oh, it's really good to see you. I don't know what happened to the driver and my luggage and with all this, I thought I was in the wrong place.
I bid you welcome.
Professor Nina Arterbach of the University of Pennsylvania asserts in her book, Are Vampires Ourselves, that vampires represent what society fears most. That's why Dracula still makes the hair on the back of one's neck rise when he speaks. In his blankness, his impersonality, his emphasis on sweeping new orders, rather than inspiring intimacy, Dracula is the 20th century he still haunts. The vampire, Count Dracula, represents the fear of death, loss of status, and connection within society, thus making this the traditional role of the vampire. So where does this situate the new vampires? Carrie Christopherson, in her essay studying paranormal romances in general, tells us that the new genre of paranormal romance creates roles for young women in a society that has no defined roles for women any longer. She says, these stories echo at an amplified level the struggles women have in their own lives. And while they do not provide direct meaning for the women's trouble, they do provide a vicarious meaning by ways of their heroines' supernatural cosmos. While it is not a lasting fix to their problems, paranormal romances can temporarily immerse women in tradition and meaning in a system larger than themselves. So in a world with no roles, young women are able to slip into the role of Bella Swan and find a vicarious place for a short time while they view this movie. Bella Swan, as a character, has no true defined personality, and even in the books, the author intentionally leaves out a detailed description, making the role of the heroine easy to slip into, until the viewer is no longer just viewing the movie, but part of the story and its eventual resolution. When examining Twilight and both Otterbach and Christopherson's theories, one can see how vampires, in a way, can still represent the fears within our society.
What is a vampire to you?
It's a mystical, immortal creature, and they're like perfect looking, and they sparkle.
Okay, so what is so appealing about them?
Probably that they're immortal and can live forever, and they're just like perfect looking and stuff.
Alright, what about Edward and his family himself, like as characters? What's appealing about Edward?
Edward probably is like looks, and his whole family is perfect, and like their looks are, and the way that their family was created by the head guy.
The blood connection. Mm-hmm. What about to you, as a person, like to you personally, what do you think about Edward? Do you like him? Is he, like, what's appealing about him? He's portrayed as like a lonely, brooding, silent type. Mm-hmm. So in the movies and the books. So what's appealing about that?
Probably that he waits for Bella for so long, like all the years that he was immortal and stuff. He waits for her to come around.
Okay, well, what about Bella? What do you like about her or dislike about her?
I like that she accepts like the werewolves and the vampires and all that mystical stuff that she was totally unaware of before she met Edward.
Well, what do you think? She struggles as an individual, like she feels like she's clumsy and that she can't be compared to Edward or his family in general. Do you connect to anything like that with her at all?
Yes.
What exactly do you connect with her and her struggles?
Probably that she feels like clumsy and like shy compared to them, and that she can't like at first she doesn't feel like she fits in with him, and then she gets more comfortable with him over time.
Is this something you and your friends find so appealing in the movies too?
Edward, with his ability to read minds, represent what the viewer comes across every day. This being alone in a crowded room. With all the new social media websites, we have more access than ever to everyone's thoughts and feelings, but at the same time, face-to-face interactions have declined. Being able to slip into the role of Bella, who is so clumsy and awkward, much like every young girl hitting this age, as well as being in this audience, the girl that saves the lonely vampire makes it so that the viewer is really saving him from their own fears and conquering their own problems, while still retaining their own character. From Dracula to Edward, the role of the vampire has been about recognizing and conquering fears. Now, though, instead of destroying their fears, viewers have now a chance to save themselves from them instead.